Good evening, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us for our first April panel with real Oberlin students. I'm the least interesting person here, as is my cohort, Tanya. So I'm actually just going to mute myself and turn it right on over to our panelists for tonight. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wonderful current Oberlin students, one of whom might be joining us from abroad if her mic slash camera ends up working. But other than that, if you have questions, feel free to comment them on the Oberlin blogs or in a comment on the YouTube live stream here. Okay, have at it, lovely folks.
Okay, so I guess I start. Hi, I'm Aditi. My personal gender pronouns are she, her, hers, or they, them, theirs. My major, I'm an art history major, and I'm on the pre-med track. Things I do on campus. Okay, well, I'm involved in some music here, so I'm doing private secondary lessons through the conservatory with the professor in percussion. And then I'm also in the musical union, which is the biggest choral group in the on the campus and in the community. So that's pretty cool. And I am the co-chair of the South Asian Student Association, which I'm super excited about. I think there are probably more things that I'm doing, but I've probably forgotten them. So that's enough. Next person go.
So I guess I'm next. Hi, my name is Alejandro. My preferred gender pronouns are he, him, and his. I am a second year. I am not officially declared, but I intend on double majoring in computer science and sociology and have a minor in dance. Things I do on campus. I guess I dance a lot. I actually have 2 shows coming up very soon. That's exciting. And I am also involved with student government. I'm on the student finance committee here, which is pretty great. And yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. I don't know, Diego. Do you know is your mic working? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You can go. You can go. You want to go?
All right.
Okay.
Thanks. Yeah. So I'm Diego, freshman. So I think I will be majoring in chemistry. I'm still undeclared, but that's probably what I'm going to be declaring. And I'm in cross country and track here. That takes up a lot of my time. And other than that, it's pretty much just homework, studying, running.
Okay. I will go. I'm Linda. I use she, her, and hers. I'm a comparative American studies major. That's my only official major. But I'm an African studies minor, and I'm trying to be maybe law and society. So I don't know. But I'm really interested in citizenship and identity politics and things along those lines. And on campus, I'm in 2 a cappella groups. So that's a lot of rehearsals, but really exciting, and I'm having a really good time this semester with that. And I'm also on the chess team, and those are I guess the 2 biggest things that I do. So yeah.
Okay, so I'm Naquan. I use he, him, his. I'm a freshman. I haven't declared yet, but I'm thinking I'm going to do studio art with the religions minor. The thing that takes up the most amount of my time is I'm a Bonner Scholar, so it's kind of a nationwide organization where you do service in exchange for some finances for college. So that's a lot of what I do, but it's fulfilling.
Okay. Hi, I'm Samantha Smiley. Everybody calls me Sammy. I go by she, her, and hers. My major is history, with a concentration in Middle Eastern, North African studies. I am a posse scholar, which takes up most of my time because I have 2-hour meetings. I am a member of a BUSWA, which is the Black Student Union, an OCDC member, which is the Oberlin College Dialogue Center. I'm a facilitator and a mediator. So that's all I really do. Oh, and I'm a mission blogger. So. Oh, I'm part of it.
Okay, so it looks like our first question is, oh, shoot. Why Oberlin? Should I just go for it? Sorry, I sort of started talking. I fucked up. But, I looked at the school, first of all, because I was really into doing a lot of music stuff, and I was also really interested in the sciences. And Oberlin obviously has really good programs in both of those things. I came in thinking I was going to be a neuro major, and Oberlin is one of the only places that I was looking at that have like an actual like neuroscience major, which was pretty cool. I ended up not actually being a neuro major. I ended up being an art history major, which also Oberlin has a great art history program, so that ended up really well for me. Yeah, that's essentially why I looked at the school and why I chose it.
I could go. So in high school, I was a big history nerd, but I thought I was going to major in psychology, which didn't happen. But I really wanted to be here at Oberlin because I was very interested in its history, and I just wanted to be on the campus to learn more about it, and so that's what really dragged me here.
I can go, if that's okay. All right. So I looked at it for a couple of reasons. One of the reasons is that I'm a Questbridge scholar, so it's one of the affiliated colleges. And it's a similar program, more to Posse than to Bonner Scholars because we don't have community service, but they just have partner colleges. And so that was one of like the biggest reasons that I initially looked at it as a junior. But I also just liked how small the student body was and how small your classes are too. So like how your professors get to know you personally. I really like that aspect of it. And then I came on a junior visit program, which was so wonderful. It's not called Access Oberlin, but multicultural visiting program when I was here. So that's what really just like kind of sealed it for me. And I was there with Alejandro. That's where I met him. So that was awesome too.
I could go. So I applied to Oberlin because of the visit program I was with Linda, but also because I was looking into small colleges that has a good dance program, because I knew that I wanted to continue dance, but I didn't know in what fashion. And so that was one of the places one of the things, and also just like I think Oberlin has a really just like good like wider arts community, which I really really thoroughly enjoy. And also looking for a place where I could balance my more academic interests with my more like creative artistic interests, and Oberlin seemed like a well place to be. Yeah.
Okay, and I applied to Oberlin because, well, it was, or from what I heard, is a really small, or like close-knit community, and I thought that would be perfect because, get to know your professors, and also it was a great opportunity to go as far away from home as I could. And also I'd be able to run or just compete here in track and cross country, so it was perfect.
Okay, so when I was doing the college process, wasn't the most active as a person as I should have been. So I actually had a best friend who was way more goal focused than I was. That talked about Oberlin a lot, and needing somewhere to mention and having all the admissions counselors on your back, you kind of just throw out schools. So I was like, oh, I'll apply to Oberlin, and through a lucky chain of events after that, I somehow got in because that was a real interesting time. So I went on the multicultural visit, which is now called Access, and I ended up really loving it. So, happy accidents are good.
Mm.
Okay, so the next question we have is, what was it like moving to Oberlin, and was it difficult coming to the quiet Midwest, and if anything, what has helped? Um, well, I'm from Philadelphia, so there are a lot of public transportations, and if you want to get somewhere, you can, and then there's a mall, and there are things that just aren't here. So I was deluded into thinking that when I got here, I was like, well, there'll be cabs, and I can take a cab to Cleveland, and there will be. You can't do that. That dream was shot down very quickly after I got here. So I had a mini panic attack. It's very true. It was very true. But you learn that you're going to be here, and then you'll leave one day and not even notice that you were in like kind of a bubble for so long. There's always something to do, and if you're not doing your homework, then you're with your friends, or you're going out somewhere, or you're working. So I've noticed that. I mean, we do take our trips now every now and then to Cleveland and Elyria and all the other neighboring areas, but you're not going to really notice kind of that you're here, and eventually when you'll leave, you'll be like, oh, this is different. People do exist. There are other people in the state. So it's difficult. I'm not gonna say that you'll get here and you'll be like, I can do this. You're gonna look around and be like, so this is all of campus. But you'll get through it.
Yeah, I'm from Chicago, and it was different because I'm from a big city. I'm used to seeing a lot of people, hearing noises at night, in the afternoon. I'm used to hearing trains. I'm used to seeing buses. It was a new experience moving to Oberlin and being such kind of like a small town. The only thing that helped me is that like I wasn't the freshman who wanted to explore everything. As soon as I got here, I was like, I'm going to say something. So a lot of people talk about the art, which is this nice. How do you explain it? It's just this nice woodsy area that you can go and walk in. I just went Saturday night, and it was really good. And I'm happy that I like held that off until this year. And now next year I have to figure out what I'm going to explore about Oberlin. And I'm also happy that I have friends with cars. That helps.
Well, I'm from another big city. I'm from New York. And so is Alejandro. Okay. But for me, it actually wasn't that big of a difference. Like, I mean, I definitely missed like all the food. That was like one of the biggest things, that like you could go out and get whatever food you wanted at whatever time of day, and like it wasn't a big deal. And there is really, I mean, I want to say compared to other colleges especially, but also just in general, like Oberlin has some pretty good food, and the food in town is also pretty good, but like you miss New York pizza, you miss like sushi, and you miss like Thai food, you miss like being able, or you miss your home food, like being able to like your parents' food or your grandparents' food. So that was like the biggest thing for me. But I actually think it's like pretty cool being in college. Like it's like kind of like a little mini. It's not. I wouldn't say a city, like not the sounds and things like that. But I've lived closer to my friends than I ever have in my entire life. Right now, like I walk somewhere and like in 5 minutes I can go to my friends' houses. So I think it's like kind of cool. I don't know, just like it's kind of like you all live in your like own little apartments. And that's what I really liked about it. So yeah, I definitely miss the food, and I definitely like ask people to drive me to the Starbucks sometimes and like whatever. But there's just so much going on here, and like you have so many friends, and like I don't know. I feel like I don't get homesick that often. So.
Okay. I will answer next. So I think it was a little bit different for me because I wanted to kind of go to a smaller college, not in New York City, but also just not in another big city. Um, and so um, moving to Oberlin, you can definitely see the difference. As other people said, there are just less people, period. At least compared to big cities. And I don't know. I thought that everything kind of slows down a bit, and everything is like a lot more quiet. And um, yeah, I don't know. I like really appreciate sometimes how nice it can sometimes look outside. um, but yeah, and so I think talking and like meeting friends to like kind of share those experiences of like not being from this space also helped me a lot in that transition. Um, we also got a related question from Nick. Awesome for asking questions. What do you do for fun? And does the small size ever feel overwhelming? A lot of what I do for fun is mostly just be with friends. Sometimes we just meet up, play games, go to an event or a performance or something, or eat. Eat a lot.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that primarily for me, what helps me from not being overwhelmed by the small size um, is the number of events and programming that happens here. There always just seems like there's a lot to do, or a lot to, um, a lot to, a lot to see, or just like events and workshops or excos and clubs, which I guess I can explain what an exco is real quick. An exco is our experimental college, and it's basically where students get to teach other students. So some students have to like build curriculums, and so they could teach other students, and you can get credit for it, which is really awesome. So yeah, so stuff like that. Okay.
I can go next. I'm from a suburb of Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's called Minnetonka. So, it's colder there, so the weather wasn't really an issue for me. And I sort of, yeah, my home life is definitely like it straddles like the suburbs life, and then Minneapolis is so close that I did like everything there. My high school was there. So I miss the city a lot, but also it just sort of, like Oberlin life sort of feels like city life condensed without a lot of the noise. Um, there's, like Linda and Alejandro said, like all of your friends live so close, and you can walk to like any food place that you want to go. And if you have a car, you can go wherever you want in Cleveland. I have one of those like enterprise car share accounts, so I can rent a car and go into Cleveland whenever I need anything from there. So in that way, that's something that's really helped me with feeling like Oberlin is a small place, like having a way to sort of get outside of it if I ever need to, which is not that often. But yeah.
Okay, well, we have a related question from Jennifer. Hey! Is there social pressure to constantly be going somewhere and doing something? I would say no. I stay at home some Saturdays. If I'm feeling like really tired from classes, I watch Netflix, I probably read something that I want to read. Yeah, so I mean, you don't really have to go anywhere if you don't want to. I mean, the only time you really have to leave your room is when you're going to go get food. But I mean, if you bring pots and pans to school, you can also like cook in the kitchens all in around the dorm room. So it's pretty. Yeah, you don't have to go outside if you don't want to, but you should because it's fun.
Yeah, a lot of people also will stay in together or like have like relaxation like events. And I know that also sounds like kind of like pressure to go out, but most of it is just like sometimes when you're cooped up in your room for too long, like you just think too much and you like stress yourself out. So like it's good to like de-stress like with other people. So there are so many events for that and so many groups like Sam was talking about Abuswa, and I'm in La Alianza, which is like the Latinx group on campus, so they have a lot of like those events, but also like if you just want to stay in your room and watch Netflix or like stay in your room and like look at the wall, like whatever you want to do in your room, like no one's gonna force you to come out of your room, but it's fun out here, so.
Mm-hmm.
I can say this next question, but someone else can answer it. So sorry, a lot is made of the affordability of concerts and other events on campus. What do you have to spend money on? Did I say that right?
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone want to answer that?
I could take this on. SFC. Unrelated. So I guess besides like paying tuition and all that is
That's how the truth.
I mean, like, yeah, fact. Like once you're on campus, I think there's like very little like required for you to spend money on. Like you can go and not spend 4 years here and not spend money on anything if you so choose. But like the question said, there are a lot of events and some of them do cost money. However, I just think like to scale, like relative to having like performance or performers or events, or different acts coming from other places, or like going to see like someone in like a bigger city per se, the prices here are a lot cheaper. I think the most I've ever spent on an event or like even a performer is $10. And that's to see like pretty big name people or up and coming. So yeah, yeah, I know. Also like just to throw in some other thing, books cost money. So sometimes you might have to buy books, but we also have just a plug for the book co-op here. You can like exchange books with other students and have a reduced like cost that way, so you could like spend less money. So yeah.
Yeah, for me, as a low-income student, I think it's important for me to like budget my money and kind of plan ahead because I just don't have money to like, just spend on anything. So if I know I want to go to an event, I make sure that I know how much it's going to cost. You know, just to make sure I'm like budgeting my money and making sure that I get the things that I need and also have fun. But like Alejandro said, like there's some events that you don't have to spend money on at all. And it's the ones that are like $10, $10 to $15, they are like really there are people that like you wouldn't normally get a chance to see for cheap. Like SZA was here and she writes for Beyonce and Nicki Minaj their song Feeling Myself, and that was I think $15. And that was really cheap because some of her tickets could go for like $100 or more. So yeah.
Also, just to, like a note on that, having the conservatory like within walking distance and like having conservatory level like concerts that are completely free, or like the opera, which is pretty cheap like compared to other professional operas, is also really nice and convenient.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. I can ask the next question again, and then you guys can answer it. How easy is it to get an on-campus job? How do you schedule that with all your other activities?
I can answer this one. So, as a student who didn't have a lot of money, I was like, I had to get a job immediately. And it's very surprising how many jobs there are, actually. You may think that everyone's been here, so like there's not going to be a lot, but you get a lot of emails in the beginning, and it's like if someone is hiring for this, or someone's hiring for that. So it's really easy. There's usually something that you can find that you'll be interested in, at least. So I work for America Reads, which is a program where students tutor children in the school system that's here, and they pay you, so that's not good. I work with kindergartners, but you can usually get whatever grade you want. So when it comes to scheduling, usually I'll say the people will work with you. I know I was placed where I was because I had, in the beginning, no early classes, so I was free from 9 to 10, so they say you can just come in. But you definitely learn your second semester, at least I did. You can pick your classes to match a schedule. 'Cause I know when I picked them over, I don't think when I picked them over the summer, I wasn't really looking at what days they were on or when I would be free. Second semester, that changed a lot because I like sleeping. So I picked my schedule so I wouldn't have classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I just go to class every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Tuesday and Thursday I'll sleep and go to work. So you'll learn how to balance, but it'll all be good. You'll get a job.
Ooh. Okay. I guess I can answer that question. So there was a question for me that says, we had a question specifically about natural hair and if it's hard to maintain your hair at Oberlin. I am a low maintenance girl. I do not spend a lot of time on my hair. I use Shea Moisture, and I wash my hair. I put it in there, put it in there, and just shake it out. I also do twist outs and stuff like that. But I was very interested because I was worried about the same thing when I first came out. I was like, am I gonna find any products for my hair? You can order on Amazon. It's totally fine. Yeah.
Also, I know there are so many people here that will help you out. Not in the town of Oberlin, but within the Oberlin community. People will help you out if you want, or if you ran out of products, or if you needed to spend your money on food. You could knock on someone's door and be like, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. Can you help me out? And they'll help you out.
Yeah, all of us know to get the big buckets of coconut oil.
Yep.
Yeah, mine is this big. I got it from Target, and some people get it from Costco, I believe. Yeah.
There's a related question that I was kind of talking about, but other people can also answer. What community resources have been most important to you at Oberlin? If anybody wants to take that. I feel like a big one that encompasses a lot of things is the MRC, which I find is just a great resource for me. If I need to just go somewhere and hang out, or if I need to go somewhere and know that I'll have people there that are gonna if I'm in a bad mood and I don't know why, and I want to go somewhere to find people that are gonna care that I'm in a bad mood and I don't know why, I can always go to the MRC and find other students, and they'll ask me how I'm feeling, and I won't have to say anything, and even if I'm being completely ridiculous, it's just a good place for community support. So it's I don't know if I said this already, but the MRC is the Multicultural Resource Center. And a lot of groups like my group La Alianza have meetings in there, and there are events in there. They did a lot of relaxation events recently, so that's like a really important community for me.
Anyone else want to go before I do? Okay, so I think for me a boost with this year has been very important to me simply because once the certain events happened in the world and that affected me emotionally, a boost was there for me to talk and to vent my problems. So I was very happy for that, especially when them created a safe space for Black students on campus to talk about their issues. And another important resource for me here was the counseling center, because my first year I kind of had like a hard time adjusting to Oberlin, and so the counseling center gave me a lot of resources and tools to use so that I can be better equipped for this environment. Oh yeah. Well, a safe space is supposed to be basically an area or with people within your community that is created to talk about issues on campus that relates to you, and making sure that everybody in that space have an opportunity to talk.
Oh, can I talk on the next question, or Sammy, did you want to talk more about that?
I think I'm good, yeah.
So there's another question from Sophia that is, which is better for social life, especially as a freshman? Co-ops, first-year residents, regular dorms, or program housing? And this is something that I feel like I had a lot of an experience with freshman year because all my friends lived in freshman dorms, and I lived in a program house, Asia House. And so an Asia House is like kind of different than the other program houses because it doesn't have, it has a library, which is awesome, but it doesn't have as many like community spaces. So I feel like it's pretty hard in that way, like meet other people, and usually freshmen don't live in Asia House. So I did spend a lot of time in freshman housing, and I can say that my friends that did live in freshman dorms, I thought it was much easier to like make friends your own age who are like experiencing the same thing as you, especially as a freshman, like coming somewhere new. But something that I liked about not living in a freshman dorm and living in program housing was being able to sleep whenever I wanted to sleep because like people were quiet, and like kind of being able to like escape. Not escape. I think that's a pretty big word, but just like if I didn't want to like go out that night, or if I didn't want to like necessarily see all my friends when I'm doing my homework, I think that living somewhere that wasn't a freshman dorm was like better for me personally, and also like I think a lot of people in freshman dorms like have that experience of like, oh, we're all living in a freshman dorm, so like that's a new thing. But I know that like, and other people can speak on this because I don't live in other program houses, but other program houses have bigger communities, and like some people find those more helpful than living in a freshman dorm because you have like a bunch of freshmen in other places as well, like in A house especially. Like a lot of my friends made some of their best friends there freshman year.
Well, obviously I'm a freshman. I said that already. But I live in a program house. I live in A house, which is African house. And if we're getting really specific, I live on Saunders. So there are two sides to it. So there's Saunders and Willard. And,
don't get it twisted.
But it's been interesting. Most of my friends live in, well, actually, this is not true. I have a friend in every type of housing type. And I do a lot of walking. Now, okay, you live in a program house. Get used to using your legs because you are going to have to walk to certain places in campus, and sometimes it can be a hike in the snow and in the rain. Bring an umbrella. Don't let anyone tell you not to. Bring an umbrella. But
Right.
it's very there's a sense of community in program houses that I personally don't really see in the um first year dorms. And you'll meet a lot more people here from different grades and ages and different places. And there's always something like A House. We have regular meetings, and there are always events. And if you need help with your homework, like I did multiple times first semester, there's always someone here to help you. So I say explore your options. Don't well, because I mean I didn't apply to be in a program house. I just kind of was placed here, and it's one of I think is the best part of my year so far. Just the random way that it happened. So just give it a chance, talk to people. But I definitely would recommend program houses. But I know there are plenty of friendships that have been made in everywhere else. So even if you live in a program house, you'll be friends with people all over, and you will get used to doing walking. The A house has a nice cafeteria. They have a nice dining hall if you don't want to go anywhere. It's okay.
So last year, as a first year, I lived in Con, which is one of the first year. With Sammy, same hall, second floor.
Yeah. Not really, but I was joining.
Linda was also there. But yeah, and so I think that was a good experience and space for meeting other first years and being in that kind of community. But I think that might be touched on. But what I wanted to talk about are co-ops. So currently I'm living in a co-op in Harkness, Woot. And I can just kind of speak on the what I'm observing of the first years who live in Harkness and who have lived in Harkness from when they came, and it's a different experience because cooperative at Oberlin. So basically, let me actually explain a co-op. So a a co-op is we have two types of co-ops: a housing co-op and a dining co-op. If you're in a dining co-op, you basically are in this community where you do all of the tasks yourself. So we cook our own meals for each other every day, as well as take care of the space of the dining space. And for housing, we live in the space, so we do all of the maintenance, such as cleaning the bathrooms, like the hallways, the stairwells, but just making sure that space is clean. And to the expectations of the community that we live in. And so being in co-ops, it kind of provides a different experience because you are with a tight group of people. Right now, Harkness has around like 60 or so students living there and about 100 or so students eating there. And so basically, you will eat with the same people every day. You will be with the same, live around the same people who you are eating with, and so that provides a space for building like really close relationships with the people who you surround yourself with. And so for first years, that means that you will be exposed to all years, and I guess in like a more immediate and obvious way, because you will be cleaning with them, you will be eating with them, you'll be cooking with them, and so I see like the first years that live in Harkness, they know like first year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth years, and kind of that variety. And so that's just a different perspective and different, outlet or means of housing or eating. Also, so well, for OSCA, which is the Oberlin Student Cooperative Association, it is a cheaper option if you're worried about finances, which I am. So it is one of the alternatives to eating in CDS, which is the college's dining plan, and it's also an alternative to living in traditional housing or program housing. So yeah, Diego, do you want to take on this question?
Yeah. So I'm actually living in Cannes right now. It's a freshman dorm, and it made it easier for me because I was new, I didn't know anyone, and I got to meet first years, and I think that helped a lot. And then it was through my other classes where I was able to meet others, like those from a higher grades. And it's even nice now that I could just go out of my room and there'll be people I could talk to, and I don't know, I feel like the people in my hall are like really, really close, and I think that's really, really nice.
Okay, so there were a few questions about the Bonner Scholar Program, which is mainly just what is it, time commitments, and other things like that. So I think first and foremost, I'll tell you to apply. Do not wait. I was fortunate that these positions weren't all filled, and got in, I think, at the very last minute. But anyway, the Bonner Scholars are a group of well, actually, it was started by this wealthy couple who decided that, they were going to give their wealth to help students in need um, have the tools to succeed in college, and then help alleviate some of the costs. And in return, they would do service, which would help them gain a better understanding of the world and the people around them. So the program itself, you do apply, you write a few essays. Don't overthink it like I did. I wrote like pages and pages about all the things I could do, and it worked. But you learn that a lot of other people don't write essays like you do. So just be concise. And there are 15 each year, and you arrive to campus a little earlier than everyone else. I think the week, which is not a bad thing at all. You get to pick the best spot in the room. You'll get to make friends and meet people, which is, I will say, the majority of my friends now are Bonners. So you'll get here for that week. You'll go through orientation. You'll meet the head, who is Trisha. She's amazing. Helps you with everything. And so you'll do this. Well, they say you should do about 10 hours of service a week. Um, you're not expected to have a grasp of what that really means your first semester, because I didn't. I know a lot of people who did not. But so about 10, you need 126 hours a semester. So get on it. Don't don't be like me crying at the end of the semester. Like if I could just work over winter break. But there are a lot of service opportunities, and there's a whole website for a bunch of things you can do. And even if you're not a Bonner, like the Bonner sends over for everyone if you want to do service. So there's a long list. A bunch of organizations are partnered with them. But if you are a Bonner, you there'll be a bunch of lists. You go, you'll write to people. It's kind of like a job interview, but not really. You're like, hey, I'm interested in doing this or that. Could I please spend some time here? And you go, you log a few hours. They log a few hours. You do some hours, and then they sign off on how many hours you do. And eventually, once you reach a certain total, you get a check, and you get 4 checks a semester. There's also day of service, which is like, it happens orientation week. Well, if you're a regular person, it would happen the actual orientation week. If you're a Bonner, it'll be your second week here. And if you're a Bonner, you do help run this. And you're not expected to be like in charge or anything like the other Bonners head it up. You're just kind of like the assistant. But eventually it will be you in the next years. It's a process. It's a 4-year commitment. You'll get it. But day of service, everyone's invited to do it. It's a big school-wide, community-wide organization where you partner with, I know I went to the public library, but you can go to, oh my gosh, a bunch of places. And of course, I'm blanking on all of them, but a lot of places you can go. OCC? Yes, I think the OCC is one of them too. That's the place where they have a bunch of babies there. It's so cute. You can really go everywhere. basically. And you just do service for the day, and then we'll reflect on it. And it's a good way to like see the actual town as opposed to just the college, because you have to remember Oberlin is also a town. But there's a lot you can do everywhere in the county. You can volunteer at schools. You can help at the food giveaways, which are on the weekends and the mornings. And even if you want to go to Cleveland, I know you can partner with one of the car services, and they'll let you get a car. Well, if you're a Bonner, you can partner with the car services, and you can get the car to go do your service, come back. Just don't damage the car. You are loaning it. But Bonner is great. Like they're a good support system. I would just want to say on a note, if you have science commitments, the scientists here, there's a lot they have for you to help you, and they do what are they called? The things at night.
Owls or no?
Owls, yes, they have owl sessions, which usually happen on like Mondays and Thursdays. If you are a Bonner, you will have a class on Thursdays, which means you are not going to owls, which means you have to go to those office hours, get a tutor if you need to. Just be aware that there are some things that you have to commit to as a Bonner, and you just have to work around it. But it's really easy; you'll get the hang of it. But owls is one of the big. Owls is beautiful. Go, always go. We'll talk about owls is what they do. I think they have in most classes, but mainly the sciences. You go, it's run by the TAs, and they go over the things that they do in class. You get some problems. They're really helpful. But yeah, be a Bonner.
Oh no. Okay, well the next question is what academic resources are there? Are there any that you wish were better known, the best kept secrets of Oberlin? This isn't really like a formal resource, but again, like a lot of people have been saying, like other people are your resources, and that's something that I really like about Oberlin. Like if you're in a class and you really don't understand what's going on, like aside from a TA, if you just ask another student, like people are really willing to help you here, and like people are more willing to take time out of their day to help you than I feel like I haven't had the same experience like anywhere else. So I think just like don't be afraid to ask for help. Like don't be afraid to talk to your professors. But sometimes other students can be like better teachers. Like sometimes other students can explain it better, or if you know someone's taken the class before, don't be afraid to like shoot them an email. So yeah, that's something that I had to learn after my first semester.
For like Linda said, ask professors. Like for me, I was so nervous to ask my professors because like you get here, like well, I'm a little nosy. I kind of like looked up my professors and their credentials and like yeah, like some people, some professors do go to Stanford or Yale. Went to Stanford or Yale or Princeton or whatever. But they're like most of the professors I had were really, really sweet, and they took me in and taught me how to like write in different formats. Gave me extra time on assignments. Was okay with me doing makeup work or turning in work just a little late. And so yeah, you should definitely talk to your professors. Do not end up in crisis mode. Just talk to them beforehand.
I will also agree to that. I know at least me personally, I am the kind of person that's just like, oh, I can handle this. Like I could do this all by myself. Like I don't need no one. No, but definitely, especially ever since I got here, and learning just to like reach out to people, it's definitely helped me. Not only like with classes, but with other things in life. But specifically academically, professors are typically really great about meeting with students. And also tutors. You can request to get a tutor, and it will be free for you, which I think is amazing. So if you need help in something, like there are people that can tutor you, or maybe different professors who can help you as well. So yeah, just wanted to add that.
I want to second that as well. Office hours are incredible. Teachers are always super friendly, and they're always willing to meet with you about whatever you bring into them to get help on. I had to use them a lot in my science courses. Last semester, I was taking organic chemistry, and I was basically in my professor's office hours every single time he had them. And it very, very much helped me. It was great. I'm so thankful for them. Also, the Clear Center, which meets in the science library in like one of the group study rooms. I don't remember exactly what it stands for, but they're there to help you with all sorts of like quantitative stuff. And like if you bring in your labs or your homework for them to help you with, the people there will help you a lot as well. They're really great.
Something else that's great is, or at least for me in my chemistry class, there's like, we can just walk into, there's like a designated area where people will just tutor you. You don't need to schedule anything, they'll just be there, they'll help you out. And it's great. I went once, I should probably go more often. But I also had another experience last semester in chemistry. I was struggling, and I was, it was first semester, really shy. I went to my professor, and he stayed after his office hours just trying to help me, and it was really helpful, and also really well, I don't know, I wouldn't know the word, but he sacrificed his time for me. I think that's what some of these professors do for us here.
Mhm.
So there is another question from Cameron and Chan. Question's great. Is it hard to double major? I guess I could speak to this since I am planning on doing so and have been on the track. It depends. But it seriously depends. At least for me personally, I'm doing computer science and sociology, and unfortunately, there is very little overlap in the sense of classes that count for both majors. So for me, it is I kind of have to plan quite a bit what my classes are and like what I'll be taking, when I'll be taking them, because sometimes my comp sci class overlaps with my sociology class. I'm just like, what do I do? But I think that if you plan well, or even partially, it's definitely possible, and it doesn't seem too taxing on me, at least personally. But some majors that have overlap can work really well together. I know, like, some of the sciences, they have a lot of requirements that are in the other hard sciences, physics, bio, chem, neuro. And so double majoring in those can sometimes be easier, sometimes not. I don't know.
Yeah.
My majors are like the complete opposite of Wanda. So, even, I mean, I was initially going to be an Africana Studies and Comparative American Studies double major. Something that you should definitely do, which I did not do, and I'm upset about, is look at major requirements just like as soon as you want to, like, you even think you want to be that major, because sometimes you do have to take classes during certain semesters, which is why I'm not an Africana Studies major anymore, because I would have had to take a class my spring semester next year, and I'm not going to be here. So sometimes that happens. So I think that's like what Alejandro said, like the planning is the hardest part and knowing when you're going to take things. But Africana Studies, Comparative American Studies, and Law and Society and Politics, which are the things that I'm looking at right now, all overlap so much. When you double major, you get 2 advisors. I would just say, like, go to your advisors as often as possible because they're there to help you. And I feel like a lot of people don't go to their advisors. as much as they should, which is sometimes because they're uncomfortable with their advisor. So like if you are uncomfortable with your advisor, like uncomfortable asking them for things, like get a new advisor because you want someone that you can be friends with and that like will help you as a person and not just academically. So I say definitely not as difficult as it would be in most other places, which is like another reason that I wanted to come here. But I do want to add, like, in terms of double degree, which is in the conservatory and in the college, I know that that program is a lot more difficult, and it's also mainly there for students to decide if they want to pursue music entirely or if they want to pursue something in the college. And a lot of the times, those students will choose one, and then sometimes they just don't, and then they just double degree, and they're awesome, perfect people. But I think that's also a great opportunity, like being able to explore different realms and like seeing what you actually want to do for your life and not having that like take so much time away from completing your major. So like I took a bunch of sociology classes, and I don't want to be a sociology major, and I thought that I might want to be, but like that isn't time wasted. I can use it toward other majors, and I've also just learned so many things that have helped with other classes. So I definitely think like wasting your time is not something to be worried about, but you should plan and just know what your requirements would be, so that you don't end up not being able to do something that you really want to do. So. Cool. There's another question from Anto. How have you found mentors? Where have you found mentors?
Ooh, so for Posse, we're set up, which Posse is like a program that's in various different cities, like New York City, Chicago, LA, Atlanta, and they match you up to different schools. I was matched with Oberlin. And once we get on campus, they pair us with an advisor, but that advisor is also our mentor in many ways. So my mentor / advisor is Renee Romano from the history department, and she's also my history advisor too now. And so that's how I got one mentor. And she's like my second mom. I talk to her about like what's going on campus, what's happening in my social life. If I ever need anything, she's always been there. And then Alex Cunningham, who was supposed to be here with us, she's also a Posse, but she's a year older than me. And we both went through like similar experiences our freshman year. So like once I met her, she became like a mentor, and now she like sends me emails and tells me like about stuff that I should look into, and yeah, and that's basically how I found mentors.
A mentor that I had, especially in my freshman year, was my percussion professor at the conservatory, who I was doing secondary lessons with. And I had one guy for my first semester, and then he moved away to be the dean of a college like in the area. That was super sad. And then I had got Dylan Moffat, who works here now, and he does a lot of like frame drumming stuff in the community, and he's really young and he's really chill. So whenever I go in for my lessons, he's definitely there to like talk about life stuff as well as like, you know, doing the percussion lesson thing. And it's been really nice to have that sort of like an adult in my life. Another person is my academic advisor. So Eric Inglis from the art history department, he went here and then he like did graduate work elsewhere, and then he came back and he's teaching here again. So he sort of knows what the college is like, or at least what it was like when he went here, which has been really helpful. And he's been really good at like helping me plan my life. Like he's super organized and he like knows what's going on with classes and stuff, so that's been really cool.
Okay, so I will say an unlikely mentor that I have found now is well, another precursor. Not that you all won't get here and do great things, but sometimes some classes just don't work out. And you'll get a lovely email from some people they're known as deans, and they just want to see you and know that everything's working out, and they just want to know how you're doing. And it can be scary in the beginning because you're like, the title dean holds a lot of connotations about what that means, but and I've met my fair share of deans until my freshman year. But you, I've met one dean who know I meet with every week, and I discuss my week, and it's been good because I kind of got here and I was like, I am the boss of me. That does not always mean that I am on top of things. And when you meet with someone who has the title dean, it's really hard to lie to that person and be like, oh, I did all my work and I'm on top of everything. So meeting with him has been really helpful. Not scary aside from the whole like, I really have to make sure my work is done, and he'll like pop quiz me on, so what do you have to do this week? And I'll be like, oh, I have a paper, and he's like, really? Because you said you had an exam last week. So he really keeps me on top of things. But deans are here to help you. They're not, when you have to meet with one, it's not the end of the world. They're good. So I'll recommend deans.
Mm-hmm. There's a question from Chanel. It's, how did you find internships related to your major or fields? That's interesting.
The Career Center is very helpful. They have a site called ObiOps, which is basically like a big website, which is a list of all the things you can. They have available, like different Oberlin alum and organizations that partner with the school that have certain internships that you can do, and they're listed by the profession and whatever field that the organization is in. So do not be afraid of the Career Center, and also don't think that if it's your first year you don't have to go see them. I've been there many a time to fix my resume, and I did an internship over winter term for a mental health organization, which is what I was originally interested in first semester. Chemistry has changed that, but the Career Center is great, and they will help you through a lot. Look for Donna; she is amazing. She will help you.
Yes.
Yes, look for Donna.
Yeah, I'd say the Career Center also, like just to add on to that, they have specific internships from the Career Center. So on ObiOps, which is online, when you're an Oberlin student, you can log on there with your email, and then there are specific internships that are like for Oberlin students, or that like from companies that are looking for people that are like students that go to Oberlin. So they'll send it. Basically, it's through the Career Center, and you do it online. And super easy. You can get all the help that you need from the Career Center also, because they know exactly what they're doing and exactly what the employees are looking for. And then I'd also say, like, look for recent OB alums. Like, if you're a sophomore, I'd say, like, people that you knew. And then, like, if you're a freshman, like, go to the Career Center, maybe ask people, because those people are the people that, just had internships like a couple years ago and maybe are still in internships. But there are also people that are most likely to like hire Oberlin students again also, because Oberlin students love Oberlin students. So that's definitely where I found a lot of the internships that I applied to this semester, because the people that I knew that graduated last year are into the things that yeah. So I'd say talk to people in your classes, or like people who you know are into stuff that you're into. And that's how I found the internships that I'm applying to now, that have to do with like immigration and stuff like that. That's not necessarily like I wanted to stay in New York, and the people that I knew that graduated were in New York, but the things on the Career Center website weren't in New York. So that's how I found the ones that I'm applying to.
On that, I just recently figured out kind of what I want to do in my life, and I think I want to go into radio journalism. And like Linda and I believe someone else said, talk to OB alums. Use Oberlin Switchboard. That is very important. It's like a website that people post things on. Like some alums like put like, hey, ask me questions about this. I work at this place. I talked to an Oberlin alum who works at NPR, which is like my dream job. So yeah, just talk to OB alums. Also, if you know that you're in love with like certain organizations, like I said, I'm in love with NPR. And I also listen to WBZ Chicago, which is a public radio show there. You can look on their websites and check for internships, and I'm pretty sure they'll have some. And segue into that, there's a question from Liam. What are the school publications? Can anyone write for them? And is it true that some classes, like creative writing, you have to apply for? So one school publication is the Oberlin Review. I wrote for it. I wrote for the opinion section. There's also The Grape, which is like an alternative news outlet here at the school that anyone can write for, and it's really cool. And you do have to apply for creative writing classes. Sorry. Yeah.
There are also other types of publications on campus. I can think of like 3 more from the top of my head. Some of them specializes. I'm thinking about the Synapse, which is a science-related magazine. They have some super interesting articles. Also, there are literary magazines, the Plum Creek Review, Headwaters, Water Voice, which all serve kind of different purposes on campus. And they also all write about different things. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure all of them are open, get open submissions from people in the college and some in the community.
Mm-hmm. Also on that note, we have like zines that go around depending on what organization you're in. Usually just like identity organization. So like again, La Alianza, we had a zine that came out last semester. And so like those are things that anybody can contribute to. I mean, not anybody necessarily, like people that identify with that identity, but like in terms of if you wanted to write for a zine, you would be able to do that. There are so many different communities. You could also start your own zine, and people are really open to like new literature, so that wouldn't be something that's hard to do either. So there's another question. Can anyone talk about their experiences in queer groups / communities on campus? So if anyone wants to take that.
I would take it, but I'm not in any like actual queer groups or communities on campus, because when I got here, I was kind of like, oh look, basically 4 people on my hallway queer, and then like 5 people upstairs, and a bunch of people downstairs, and like it ended up being like there was a community in like my first year dorm that was queer, and then I didn't really go search out any other opportunities, which I thought was a really cool thing about Oberlin, that yeah, there are queer people everywhere. It's really nice. It's a bit of a culture shock when you go back to the real world where not everybody is queer, and it's kind of sad. You're like, oh, why? We're back. But, yep. Sorry. That's all I got.
I don't identify as queer, but I do know that there are queer peers, which I here are so much fun. Which is just like a SCO night, like you don't just call queer beers, because they also have professor beers. People that identify different ways, and like that includes entire houses and dorms, but also just like spaces within dorms. So like, I mean, like I can't speak from any experience like how those spaces like run or like how people feel in those spaces, but I do know that they exist like very openly. So, like the fact that queer people are everywhere here, and like, yeah.
So there's another question. Is it possible to participate in music groups or take courses / lessons even if you're not enrolled in the conservatory? Which yes, you can take secondary lessons, and you don't have to be enrolled in a con. Anybody can take secondary lessons. I think Aditi has more information on that.
Yeah, for sure, I can speak to that. It's definitely possible to participate in stuff that's going on at the conservatory if you're only enrolled in the college. I decided to take private lessons with a professor because I really wanted to like keep being like as involved in like my percussion sort of life as I was in.
Oh.
Just give us a second.
Okay. While Aditi is gone, so yes, there are opportunities. Well, the initial question was, are there opportunities to enroll in music groups or take lessons in the conservatory? A lot of a cappella groups do, well, most of them actually, practice in the conservatory, and there are a lot of conservatory students in those groups. I'm in 2 groups, and the majority of one of my groups is in the conservatory, and like half of the other group is also in the conservatory. So that's definitely like an opportunity to just be in the conservatory with conservatory students. But also, like as Aditi was saying, like you can take secondary lessons. You do have to audition for secondary lessons, and so if you have played the instrument before and like have experience professor, and if you haven't, you'll usually get a student, and then that student will get you to a certain level to where you can work with a professor later. So I definitely say like start later or start sooner than later. If that's something that you're even thinking about, because you can always like stop doing it, but it's harder to get lessons with an actual professor if you've had like no experience whatsoever. Like senior year, you just want to like start playing the bassoon. It's a hard thing to do. And also like conservatory students are like really willing to help, but they also have really tight schedules. So again, just like make sure you do that really soon. Make sure you talk to people. But I've also like taken classes in the conservatory every semester here. And that's something else that's like super open to students, like music theory, music history, and all the music histories are like wonderful. Also, like oral skills is something that I know a lot of my friends, and like something that I've been thinking about taking in the conservatory that you don't need to be a conservatory student for, and it's also like much easier to get into than other conservatory classes. But there are certain classes that are like only meant for conservatory students, like private like sessions. So yeah. But do you want to talk about it before you got cut off?
Sure. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Let me see. So yeah, at the beginning of my freshman year, I auditioned for the like really big shot percussion professor here, Michael Rosen. I'd been in like the Oberlin Percussion Institute in the summer before, so he sort of knew me, which was really cool. So I went in and auditioned for him, and he was like, "Cool, you're going to be with this professor. Have fun doing lessons with him for the rest of the semester." And I was like, "All right." And that professor was awesome, and I learned a lot from him, and so that was cool. What else? You can also take classes at the conservatory, like academic music classes, if that makes any sense. So like my first year, I took ethnomusicology 100 with a visiting professor, Catherine Metz, because the usual professor was on sabbatical, and Catherine Metz works at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So our classes were really late at night, but it was super worth it. She knows like everything ever. She's incredible. I wish she worked here. So you can get involved in the conservatory and those sorts of ways as well, where you're with people who are sometimes con students, sometimes college students, and you like studying music in that sort of a way. Yeah. Ooh.
That's a hard one.
So it looks like our final question is, what do you wish you had known your first week of college? Oh, there's so many things. I made so many mistakes my first week of college. I can take this first. For my first week of college, I was, I think, pretty much either in my room or in the conservatory because I had this audition for the Oberlin Science and Orchestra. No, Oberlin Arts and Sciences Orchestra. There we go. All the words in the right order. Good. And so I was just basically practicing for that, for a lot of orientation and a lot of like my first week. And I like didn't go to too many events, and I didn't go to Cedar Point or anything. And yeah, so I would tell my past self to like get out of my room and like meet people and actually do the orientation things and not lock myself up in my room because that was a bad decision.
Diego, do you have anything you want to add to this question?
Trying to think of something, but the only one that I thought of was something that was mentioned recently, something that I didn't know. I actually didn't know that we could have like our own tutor. I think someone in the group here just mentioned it. I think that would have helped me a lot. No, I don't have any.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have been trying to think of like one thing I wish I would have known, and it has proven to be a very hard task, at least for the first week of college, which is great because that means there's a lot to learn, why we're here. But one thing I guess I wish I would have known more about are um, I mean, I wish I would have known more about co-ops when I first got here. I kind of got a taste of it when I overnighted, but I kind of completely forgot about that. I think that I wanted to wish I knew about the Career Center that early. I wish I knew about also like the events calendar. Can I just actually
Yeah.
the events calendar, like there are like I said, there like usually like a lot of events that are happening, and I realized I just didn't know about a lot of things happening. So the events calendar is a calendar on the school's website, and it kind of just lists out some of the events that are happening. Usually a lot of them, but at least some of them that are happening on campus, and that's a really good way of like informing yourself on what's going on. Yeah.
Something that I wish that I knew about the first week of school was how much it rained here, which I was not prepared for at all. The biggest thing for me, like, have an umbrella. Um, Wait, can everybody hear me? I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, good. Okay, so yeah, have an umbrella, have rain boots. Know that if you're from a city, like I'm from a city, and you've only experienced concrete, like there will be worms that come onto the sidewalk. That's like a normal thing for most people. It wasn't normal for me. It was so weird. I was like, I did not understand what was happening. It was like the apocalypse. So the worms like drown when it's raining in the soil, so they'll like come out and like slither onto the sidewalk, which actually ends up being like pretty cute when you don't step on them. But definitely something to know, something I wish that I would have known, because that was like one of the biggest shocks for me, like during orientation. And it does rain a lot here just because of like where we are and like how many like bodies of water there just like happen to be around or like nearby. But yeah, just like be prepared, like be an adult kind of, which I know is like a lot to ask like your first year of college, but like you do have to walk most places, and like it's like really there. Like get a real jacket, like get a real clothing, I guess. Yeah, that I think that was like the hardest thing for me.
For me, I think I would say I wish I would have known about. Let me think. I wish I would have known that I needed a debit or credit card to rent books. I wish I would have known that I needed Verizon Wireless cellular because you will not get connection with anything else. I wish I would have known that there are different cultures in like each dorm. Because I lived in Con my first year, and I don't think that was a very healthy situation for me, especially because I grew up in an all-black community. I should have lived in a house probably my first year so I can get kind of used to being in a predominantly white space. I wish I would have known about having depression here on campus, dealing with imposter syndrome, stuff like that, because that did affect me and as a person and me academically, because I was so afraid to talk in classes. I wish I would have known to like get out sometimes and have fun. I wish I would have known that like you don't have to drink if you want to go to parties. You could just go to parties and dance all night long and just have fun. So yeah.
Okay, so I kind of have two things. The first, which pertains just to orientation week, I wish I would have known that, well, I was here for 2 orientations, so I had like a double week. But I wish I would have known that like it wasn't real, I'll say. You go to a lot of things and you have a lot of free time, and there's a party every night, and you're like, this is great, like I'm on my own. No one's gonna tell me don't do it, like drink. But then classes start, and you're like, what's going on? There's a lot of work I have to do. What happened to all that free time I had? Am I still gonna be able to party? So it's not real. Have fun. Be safe with your fun, but be aware that you are here for something else, which is your education. And then I guess the thing that I'm learning, kind of, I guess, is that your parents and other like adults when you were in high school or younger, whatever, you thought wasted their breath telling you all these things and like, don't do this, don't do that. You're gonna learn one day and you'll have to figure it out. And the reality is that you do, but that's not a bad thing. So a lot of things come your way in college. You're gonna be like, where's all my money going? How am I gonna pass these classes? I don't have any time. But it's through these things that you become an adult, I'll say. So don't shy away from them. Like they're gonna hurt. Being broke is gonna hurt you, but you'll really come out for the better for it. And it's not something. It's definitely not something my mother, I know, could have taught me. It's something that I had to learn on my own. So just be prepared to to live and take all those things in stride.
Cool. Cool. I'm overwhelmed. I want to go to Oberlin again. That's what just happened over the last 90 minutes. Thank you so much to all of our wonderful panelists. Thank you for everyone who is watching and giving us questions. If we didn't get to yours, or if you want even more answers, we will touch upon them in our next two panels. Our next one is actually this Saturday at 10 a.m. The focus is going to be on international students. And then we have a final panel on April 23rd at 7 p.m., and that one is more of a general focus on student life at Oberlin. Again, panelists, thank you so much. Thank you all of our audience members watching it both now and in the future, and have a lovely evening.